Kang Do-yun woke up to the smell of blood and burning metal. His ears rang with a high sound that blocked out everything else. He tried to open his eyes, but dust and ash covered his face. He coughed and tasted copper on his tongue. He was lying on something soft. No, not soft. Bodies. He was lying on dead bodies. Do-yun pushed himself up with shaking arms. His hand sank into the chest of a soldier beneath him. He did not look at the face. He could not look at the face. He crawled forward, pulling himself over the pile of corpses until he reached open ground. The battlefield stretched out before him like a nightmare made real. Thousands of bodies covered the rocky ground of New Ganghwa. Human soldiers in their gray armor lay mixed with the dark purple forms of the Keth warriors. The sky above was brown with smoke and dust. No birds called, no wind blew. The world was silent except for the ringing in his ears. Do-hyun stood up slowly. His legs almost gave out beneath him. He looked down at himself and saw blood covering his uniform. He checked his body with careful hands. Cuts on his arms, a deep gash on his left side, burns on his neck. But he was alive. Somehow, he was alive. He turned in a slow circle and looked at the destruction around him. The defensive line that Lieutenant Baek Yoonji had built was gone. The trenches were filled with bodies. The gun positions were silent. The command post was a smoking hole in the ground. His squad. Where was his squad? Do-hyun walked back to the pile of bodies where he had woken up. He began to search through the dead, looking at faces he did not want to see. He found Private Kim Seojin first. The big man's eyes were open and empty. His heavy weapon was still in his hands. He had died fighting. Corporal Cha Minji was next. She lay near the broken remains of her communication equipment. She had a hole in her chest. She had probably died trying to call for help that never came. Sergeant Lee Tae-hyung was a few meters away. His body was surrounded by dead Keth. He had taken many of them with him before the end. Do-hyun knelt beside his squad leader and closed the man's eyes. Lee Tae-hyung had been a good leader. He had kept them alive for 3 years of war, but even he could not survive this battle. Do-hyun kept searching. He had to find Park Yuna. The quiet sniper had saved his life more times than he could count. She had to be here somewhere. He found her rifle first. The long weapon was broken in half. Then he found her body. She was lying on her back, looking up at the brown sky. Her face was peaceful. There was no wound that he could see. Perhaps the blast wave had killed her. Perhaps it had been quick. Do-hyun sat down beside her and put his head in his hands. He was alone. Every friend he had was dead. Every soldier on this field was dead. The United Earth Defense Force had made its last stand on New Ganghwa, and it had failed. Humanity had lost. He sat there for a long time. He did not know how long. Time had no meaning anymore. There was only the silence and the dead and the brown sky above. Then he heard something, a scraping sound. Metal on rock. It came from the other side of the battlefield, near the remains of the Keth command structure. Do-hyun's training took over. He dropped flat to the ground and pulled his pistol from its holster. He checked the magazine. 7 rounds. He looked at his belt. No spare magazines. No grenades. Just his combat knife and his half-broken environmental suit. He crawled forward, keeping low, using the bodies as cover. He moved toward the sound, slow and careful. His side hurt with every movement. Blood dripped from his wounds and left a trail behind him. The Keth command structure was a tall, twisted thing made of purple metal and organic material. It had been beautiful once, in a strange and alien way. Now it was a ruin. Most of it had collapsed. Fires burned in its remains. Do-hyun found a position behind a destroyed vehicle and looked at the structure. He saw movement inside the wreckage. Something big was pulling itself free from the debris. Then he saw her. The alien queen. She was 3 meters tall, with 4 arms and 2 powerful legs. Her body was covered in hard plates of natural armor, purple-black like the night sky. Her head was long and angular, with large eyes that reflected light like mirrors. She had no mouth that he could see, just a series of small openings in her lower face. She was wounded. One of her arms hung useless at her side. Her armor was cracked and bleeding in several places. She moved slowly, dragging herself over the ruins of her command post. Around her lay the bodies of her personal guard. The elite warriors who protected the queen had all died in the final human assault. She was alone, just like him. Do-hyun raised his pistol. 7 rounds. He could kill her right now. One shot to the head through those mirror eyes. End it. Get revenge for his squad, for his people, for his sister, who had died when the Keth burned her colony 3 years ago. His finger touched the trigger. The queen stopped moving. She turned her head and looked directly at him. Do-hyun froze. Those mirror eyes seemed to see right through him. He felt like she was looking into his mind, reading his thoughts, knowing his pain. She did not attack. She did not run. She just looked at him across the field of corpses. Do-hyun looked back. He kept his pistol raised, his finger on the trigger. He could shoot. He should shoot. But he did not. He saw something in those alien eyes, something he recognized. Pain, loss, loneliness. She had lost her entire army. She had lost everything, just like him. In this moment, they were the same. 2 survivors in a sea of death. The queen raised one of her working arms, not to attack, just to show that she saw him, that she recognized him as a fellow survivor. Do-hyun did not lower his weapon. They stood there, looking at each other across the battlefield. Human and alien. Soldier and queen. 2 enemies who were now the only living things on this world. The wind finally blew. It carried ash and dust between them. It moved the clothes of the dead. It whispered over the silent battlefield like a ghost. Do-hyun thought about what Sergeant Lee had told him once. The Keth fight because they have to. We fight because we choose to. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us human. He had chosen to fight. He had chosen to survive. Now he had to choose what to do next. The queen lowered her arm. She began to move again, heading away from the ruins of her command post. She was looking for something. Shelter, maybe, or weapons, or a way to call for help. Do-hyun watched her go. He could follow her and attack. He could stay here and wait. He could try to find a working radio and call for rescue that might never come. He looked at his pistol. 7 rounds. 1 alien queen. The math was simple. But nothing about this situation was simple. Do-hyun stood up from his cover. He did not hide anymore. He let the queen see him clearly. He wanted her to know that he was not afraid. She stopped and turned to look at him again. Those mirror eyes studied him. He could not read her expression. He could not know what she was thinking. But he knew what he was thinking. One of us will endure. One of us will walk away from this battlefield. One of us will live to see tomorrow. Which one of us will it be? The queen turned away and continued moving. She disappeared into the smoke and ruins. Do-hyun checked his pistol one more time. Then he followed her. The hunt had begun. Do-hyun moved through the battlefield like a ghost. He stayed low and used the terrain for cover. Every few meters he stopped to listen. The queen was ahead of him somewhere, hidden in the smoke and dust. His side burned with pain. The gash was deep, and he could feel blood running down his leg. He needed to stop and treat the wound. But he could not stop. Not while she was out there. Not while the enemy was still alive. He found her trail, purple blood on the rocks, drag marks in the dust where her wounded arm had scraped the ground. She was heading toward the eastern ridge where the remains of a supply depot stood. Do-hyun followed the trail. His pistol was in his hand, ready to fire. 7 rounds. He would not waste a single one. The supply depot was a burned-out shell. The walls had collapsed and the roof was gone. but some of the storage containers were still intact. If the Queen was looking for supplies, this was a good place to look. He circled around the building, staying out of sight. He found a gap in the wall and looked inside. She was there. The Queen stood in the middle of the depot, searching through a broken container. She moved with difficulty. Her wounds were slowing her down. Her breathing was heavy and loud. Do-Yun raised his pistol. He had a clear shot. He could end this right now. His finger touched the trigger. The Queen turned around. Do-Yun fired. The shot hit her in the shoulder, cracking her armor. She screamed, a high and terrible sound that hurt his ears. Then she charged. She was fast. Even wounded, she was faster than any human. She crossed the distance between them in 2 seconds. Her 3 working arms reached for him. Do-Yun dove to the side. He fired again as he rolled. The shot missed. He came up on one knee and fired a 3rd time. This one hit her leg. She stumbled but did not fall. She grabbed a piece of metal debris and threw it at him. The metal hit Do-Hyun in the chest and knocked him backward. He crashed through the wall and landed outside the depot. The pistol flew from his hand. He tried to get up, but his body would not obey. The impact had knocked the breath out of him. He lay on his back, gasping for air. The Queen came through the hole in the wall. She stood over him, looking down with those mirror eyes. Her wounded arm hung loose. Her shoulder and leg were bleeding from his shots. But she was still standing. She was still dangerous. She raised one of her arms. Her claws extended, long and sharp as knives. Do-Hyun looked up at her. He did not beg. He did not close his eyes. If he was going to die, he would die looking at his enemy. The Queen hesitated. Do-Hyun saw the hesitation. He did not understand it. She had him. She could kill him with one strike. Why was she waiting? Then he heard it. A low rumbling sound. It came from the west, growing louder every second. Dust storm. The Queen heard it too. She turned her head and looked toward the horizon. A wall of brown dust was coming toward them, tall as a mountain and moving fast. It would be on them in minutes. She looked back at Do-Hyun. Then she looked at the depot. Then she made her choice. She lowered her arm and walked away from him. She went back into the depot and began to search for shelter. Do-Hyun lay on the ground, breathing hard. He was alive. He did not know why, but he was alive. The storm was coming. He could feel the wind picking up, pushing at him, throwing dust in his face. He had to find shelter. Now. He rolled over and searched for his pistol. He found it a few meters away and grabbed it. 4 rounds left. He had wasted 3 shots and only hit her twice. He looked at the depot. The Queen was inside. If he went in there, they would be trapped together. But if he stayed outside, the storm would kill him. He had no choice. Do-Hyun stood up and walked into the depot. The Queen was on the far side of the building, crouched behind a pile of containers. She watched him come in, but did not attack. He found a spot on the opposite side and sat down with his back against the wall. He kept his pistol in his hand. He did not take his eyes off her. The storm hit. The sound was incredible. Wind screamed through the gaps in the walls. Dust poured into the depot like water. The temperature dropped fast. Do-Hyun pulled his damaged environmental suit tighter around his body, but it did little good. The Queen curled into herself, wrapping her arms around her body. Her species came from a warm world. The cold was dangerous for her. They sat there, separated by 10 meters and 1,000 years of hate. Neither spoke, neither moved. They just waited for the storm to pass. Time went by. Do-Hyun did not know how much. The storm showed no sign of stopping. The cold got worse. He began to shiver. His fingers grew numb around his pistol. He thought about his squad. He thought about Park Yuna and her quiet smile. He thought about Sergeant Lee and his bad jokes. He thought about Corporal Cha-Minji and how she always had music playing on her headphones. He thought about Private Kim Seojin and how the big man was afraid of small insects. They were all dead, and he was sitting in a ruined building with the creature who had ordered their deaths. He should hate her. He did hate her, but hate was not enough to keep him warm. Then the Queen spoke. Her voice was strange. It came from those small openings in her face, and it sounded like several voices speaking at once. But the words were clear. She spoke human language. Human? Why do you not flee? Do-Yun looked at her across the darkness. He could barely see her in the dust-filled air. Where would I go? He said. There's nothing left. You could have run. When the storm came, you could have tried to escape. So could you. The Queen was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I do not run. I am a queen. I do not flee from lesser creatures. Do-Yun laughed. It was a cold, hard laugh with no humor in it. Lesser creatures, he said. Your army is dead. Your guards are dead. Your whole invasion force is dead. And you're sitting in a ruin hiding from a dust storm. You don't look like a superior being to me. The Queen's eyes flashed. For a moment, he thought she would attack, but she stayed where she was. You are bold, she said. Your kind has always been bold. It is why you are so difficult to kill. We're not difficult to kill. You killed plenty of us. Millions. Billions, probably. You destroyed our colonies. You burned our cities. You slaughtered our people like animals. Yes, we did. Because that is what we do. That is what we are. The Keth conquer. The Keth survive. The weak die. That is the law of the universe. Do-Yun shook his head. That's not a law. That's just an excuse. You kill because you choose to kill. You conquer because you want to conquer. Don't pretend it's some kind of natural order. The Queen tilted her head. It was a strangely human gesture. You speak as if you know us, she said. You do not. You cannot. We are nothing like you. Maybe not, but I know killers. I've seen plenty of them. Human and alien, they all sound the same. They all have reasons. They all have excuses. In the end, they're just killers. The Queen was silent. The storm howled around them. The cold grew deeper. Finally, she spoke again. Your people fight for each other. I have seen this. You die for each other. You sacrifice yourselves so that others can live. I do not understand this. It is weakness. It makes no sense. Do-Yun thought about Sergeant Lee standing over a wounded soldier, protecting him with his own body. He thought about Park Yuna giving away her position to save him from a Keth assassin. He thought about all the small acts of courage and sacrifice he had seen in 3 years of war. It's not weakness, he said. It's strength. It's what makes us human. It is why you lose. If you did not waste your lives for each other, you would be stronger. You would survive. We do survive. We're still here. After everything you've done to us, we're still fighting. The Queen made a sound. It might have been a laugh. You are not fighting. You are dying. This world was your last defense. Now it is gone. Your species is finished. Do-Hyun looked at her through the darkness and dust. Then why are you still here? He asked. If we're finished, why aren't you celebrating? Why are you sitting in this ruin, wounded and alone? The Queen did not answer. I'll tell you why, Do-Hyun said. Because you lost too. Your army is dead. Your invasion failed. You came here to conquer and all you got was a graveyard. So don't talk to me about winning and losing. Right now we're the same. 2 survivors in a dead world. The Queen looked at him for a long moment. Then she turned away and stared at the wall. The storm continued. The cold continued. The night continued. Neither of them spoke again for a long time. But something had changed. They were still enemies. They would still try to kill each other when the storm passed, but now they understood each other a little better. And that changed everything. The storm did not stop. Hours passed, and still the wind screamed and the dust poured in. Do-Yun had stopped shivering. That was bad. It meant his body was giving up the fight against the cold. He looked at the queen. She was not moving. Her body was curled tight, her arms wrapped around herself. Her breathing was slow and shallow. The cold was killing her faster than it was killing him. He should let it. He should just sit here and wait for her to freeze. Then he would be the only one left. He would endure. He would win. But what would he win? A dead planet, a ruined world, a cold grave. He thought about his sister. She had been a doctor on the colony world of New Sacho. When the Keth came, she had refused to leave her patients. She had stayed in the hospital until the end, caring for the wounded and the sick. The Keth had burned the building with her inside. She had died for others. That was who she was. That was who their family was. Do-hyun looked at the queen again. His enemy, his target, the creature who had commanded the armies that destroyed his world. And yet, she was also a living being. She was suffering. She was alone. He did not want to care about that. He wanted to hate her. He wanted to let her die. But his sister's voice was in his head, telling him that mercy was not weakness. Compassion was not surrender. Being human meant more than just surviving. He spoke into the darkness. Your species. You're cold-blooded? The queen did not answer at first. Then, slowly, she said, Yes. We need warmth. Without it, we die. How long do you have? Not long. A few more hours, perhaps less. Do-hyun looked at his pistol. 4 rounds. He could use one now and save her the slow death. It would be a mercy. Or he could do something else. He stood up. His legs were stiff, and his wounded side burned with pain. He walked across the depot, toward the remains of the storage area. The queen watched him, but did not speak. Do-hyun searched through the wreckage. Most of the supplies were destroyed or useless. Food containers were broken open and spoiled. Medical kits were burned. Weapons were melted. Then he found it. A portable heating unit. It was military issue, designed for cold weather operations. It was damaged, and the casing was cracked, but it might still work. He picked it up and looked at it. The power cell was intact, but the thermal coils were disconnected. He could see what was wrong, but he did not have the knowledge to fix it. His training was in combat medicine, not engineering. He turned and looked at the queen. Can you fix this? He asked. She looked at the heating unit, then at him. Why would I help you? She said. If you die, I survive. You won't survive. You'll freeze to death. We both will, unless we get this working. The queen was quiet. She seemed to be thinking. Bring it to me, she said finally. Do-hyun walked toward her. Every step was a risk. She could attack him. She could grab the heating unit and let him die. But he kept walking. He stopped 2 meters away from her and held out the unit. Can you fix it? He asked again. The queen examined the device with her eyes. She reached out with one of her working arms and touched the broken casing. Yes, she said, I can fix it. But my hands are too large for the small parts. I cannot reconnect the thermal coils. Do-hyun understood. She had the knowledge. He had the hands. Neither could do it alone. Tell me what to do, he said. The queen looked at him. Those mirror eyes were impossible to read. He did not know if she would help him or kill him. Then she moved. She shifted her body to make room beside her. She gestured for him to come closer. Do-hyun hesitated. This was the moment. If she wanted to kill him, this would be her chance. He thought about his squad. He thought about all the humans who had died fighting the Keth. He thought about his sister and the hospital and the fire. Then he walked forward and sat down beside the queen. She did not attack. She did not even move toward him. She just looked at the heating unit and began to speak. Open the casing. Yes, there. Now look at the thermal coils. See how they are disconnected from the power cell? You need to reconnect them. The red filament goes to the upper terminal. The blue filament goes to the lower terminal. Do-hyun worked with careful hands. The filaments were thin and delicate. His fingers were clumsy from the cold. He had to try several times before he got the red filament connected. "Good," the queen said. "Now the blue one. Be careful. If you cross the filaments, the unit will burn out." He connected the blue filament. His hands were shaking, but he managed to do it. "Now close the casing and activate the power cell." Do-hyun closed the casing and pressed the activation switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the unit hummed to life. Heat began to radiate from the coils, weak at first, then stronger. The warmth spread through the depot. It was not much, but it was enough. Enough to survive. Do-hyun sat back and let the heat wash over him. He felt his body begin to respond, his blood flowing again, his muscles loosening. He was going to live. He looked at the queen. She had moved closer to the heating unit, letting the warmth reach her cold-blooded body. Her breathing was getting stronger. She was going to live too. They sat there together, sharing the heat. Two enemies side by side, close enough to touch. A week ago, he would have thought this was impossible. Even an hour ago, he would not have believed it. But here they were. Alive. Together. The queen spoke. Her voice was softer now. "Why did you do this? You could have let me die. You would have survived the night. The storm would have passed, and you would have been free." Do-hyun thought about the question. He was not sure he knew the answer. "I don't know," he said. "Maybe I'm tired of death. Maybe I've seen too much killing. I don't want to watch anything else die, not even you. That is weakness. In my culture, you would be shamed for such thinking. Maybe, but in my culture, it's called being human." The queen was quiet for a moment. "Human," she said. "You use that word often, as if it means something special. It does. It means caring about others. It means helping people even when it's hard. It means choosing to be good when it would be easier to be cruel." "And you think that makes you better than us?" Do-hyun shook his head. "I don't know if it makes us better. But it makes us different. It's why we fight. It's why we don't give up. Because we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for each other." The queen looked at him for a long time. "Your soldiers," she said. "The ones who died on this field. They died for each other." "Yes." "And you would have died for them?" "Yes." "But they are dead, and you are alive. How do you bear this? How do you live with the guilt?" Do-hyun felt the pain of her words. He had asked himself that same question 100 times since waking up on the battlefield. "I don't know," he said. "I don't know if I can. But I have to try. Because they would want me to live. They would want me to keep going. That's what it means to honor them." The queen made a sound. It was not a word, just a sound. Do-hyun did not know what it meant. "My warriors died for me," she said. "They did not die for each other. They died because I commanded them to die. Because that is the duty of the swarm. To serve the queen. To die for the queen." Did they choose that? Did they want to die? Want is not relevant. Duty is all that matters. That's not loyalty. That's slavery. The queen turned to look at him. Her mirror eyes reflected the glow of the heating unit. "You are bold to say such things to me," she said. "Many have died for less." "Maybe. But we're past that now, aren't we? We're just two survivors trying to make it through the night. No armies, no ranks. Just us." The queen did not respond. But she did not look away either. The storm howled outside. The heating unit hummed between them. The night went on. Finally, the queen spoke again. "When the storm ends, what will you do?" Do-hyun looked at her. He knew what she was asking. Would they go back to being enemies? Would they try to kill each other again? "I don't know," he said. "What will you do?" The queen tilted her head in that strangely human way. "I will do what I must," she said. "I am a queen. I have a duty. And I'm a soldier. I have a duty too." They looked at each other across the small space between them. The heat filled the air. The storm filled the silence. Neither of them knew what would happen when morning came. But for now, they were alive. For now, they were together. And that was something. The storm ended with the dawn. The wind died, and the dust settled, and the brown sky turned to pale gray. The world was quiet again. Do-Yun woke up with his back against the wall. The heating unit had run out of power during the night. The cold had returned, but it was not as bad as before. He was still alive. He looked to his right. The queen was gone. He jumped to his feet and grabbed his pistol. 4 rounds. Where was she? Had she left? Was she waiting outside to attack him? He moved to the door of the depot and looked out. The battlefield was covered in a fresh layer of dust. The bodies of the dead were half buried. The world looked different now, softer somehow, like a painting that had been blurred. He saw her. She was 50 meters away, walking toward the eastern ridge. She was moving fast despite her wounds. She had used the night to recover her strength. She was running away, or she was looking for higher ground, or she was planning something. Do-Yun did not know. He did not trust her. He could not trust her. They were still enemies. He left the depot and followed her. He kept his distance, staying behind cover, watching her movements. She did not look back. Maybe she did not know he was following. Maybe she did not care. The queen reached the ridge and climbed to the top. She stood there for a moment, looking out at something Do-Hyun could not see. Then she disappeared over the other side. Do-Hyun moved faster. He reached the ridge and climbed up carefully. He stayed low and looked over the top. On the other side of the ridge was a valley, and in the valley was the wreckage of a human transport ship. It must have crashed during the battle. The ship was broken in half, and pieces of it were scattered across the valley floor, but some of it was intact, and that meant supplies, weapons, maybe a working radio. The queen was already at the ship. She was searching through the wreckage, looking for something. Do-Yun made a decision. He could not let her find a weapon. He could not let her call for help. He had to stop her. He slid down the ridge and moved into the valley. He used the wreckage for cover, getting closer to the ship. He could hear her moving inside, throwing things aside, breaking open containers. He reached the side of the ship and looked in through a hole in the hull. She was there, in what used to be the cargo bay. She was holding something, a rifle, a human assault rifle. Do-Hyun raised his pistol and aimed. "Drop it," he said. The queen turned to face him. She held the rifle in her 3 working hands. She looked at his pistol. She looked at him. "You cannot kill me with that," she said. "Your weapon is too small. My armor is too strong. Maybe, but I can hurt you, and you're already wounded. One more shot and you might not be able to walk. Then you'll freeze when night comes." The queen considered this. He could see her thinking, calculating. She was smart. She knew he was right. She looked at the rifle, then at him. Then she threw the rifle aside. Do-Hyun let out a breath he did not know he was holding, but he did not lower his pistol. "Why did you come here?" he asked. "What are you looking for?" "The same thing you are," she said. "A way to survive. A way to win." "There's no winning anymore. Don't you understand that? It's over. The battle is over. The war is over. There's nothing left." "The war is not over. Not while I live. Not while the swarm continues." Do-Yun shook his head. "Your swarm is dead. I watched them die. I killed some of them myself. This swarm is dead. But there are others, many others. They will come. They will finish what we started." A chill went down Do-Yun's spine that had nothing to do with the cold. "What do you mean? How many more are coming?" The queen made that sound again, that almost laugh. You do not know? You do not understand what you are facing? This was one fleet, one swarm. The Keth have 100 swarms, 1,000 queens. Your species has lost one battle. The war has barely begun. Do-yun felt sick. He had known the Keth were powerful, but he had not known this. 100 swarms, 1,000 queens. Humanity could not fight that. No one could fight that. Then why are you still here? He asked. If you have so many reinforcements, why haven't you called them? The queen was quiet. She did not answer. You can't call them, Do-yun said. Can you? Your communication equipment was destroyed. You're stuck here. You're alone. The queen turned away from him. She looked at the wreckage of the human ship. I am searching for a way to send a signal, she said. Human technology is primitive, but it might work. If I can reach the nearest swarm, they will come for me. And they'll finish destroying what's left of my people. Yes. Do-yun raised his pistol. His hand was shaking. He could kill her now. He should kill her now. Stop her from calling her reinforcements. Save what was left of humanity. But he hesitated. Again. Why do I keep hesitating? He said out loud. He was talking to himself as much as to her. The queen turned back to look at him. Because you are human, she said. Because you care about life, even alien life, even enemy life. It is your greatest weakness and your greatest strength. Do-yun looked at her. His pistol was still raised. If I let you send that signal, my people die. Yes. If I kill you now, your people might never find this place. They might leave humanity alone. Perhaps. Or perhaps they will come anyway. The swarm does not stop. We cannot stop. It is what we are. Do-yun's hand was shaking harder now. He did not want to do this. He did not want to kill her. Not after the night they had shared, not after they had worked together to survive. But he was a soldier. He had a duty. He steadied his hand. He aimed at her head. The queen watched him. She did not run. She did not beg. She just waited. I'm sorry, Do-yun said. His finger tightened on the trigger. Then the queen spoke. Wait. There is something you should know, something I have not told you, about why we came, about why we conquer. Do-yun paused. He did not lower his weapon. What is it? The queen took a breath. It was a human gesture. She had learned it from somewhere. Our homeworld is dying, she said. The stars are changing. Our sun is growing cold. In 100 years, maybe less, our world will be frozen. Our entire species will die. Do-yun stared at her. We did not come to conquer because we wanted to, the queen continued. We came because we had to. We need new worlds, warm worlds, worlds where our eggs can hatch and our children can live. Without them, the Keth will become extinct. So you decided to take our worlds, to kill us so you could live. Yes, it was necessary. It is still necessary. The swarm must survive. That is the only law that matters. Do-yun felt his anger rising. But under the anger was something else, something uncomfortable, understanding. He thought about what humanity would do if Earth were dying. If the sun were going cold and there was nowhere left to live. Would they ask politely for help? Would they accept extinction with dignity? Or would they fight? Would they take what they needed to survive? He knew the answer. He hated the answer, but he knew it. The queen watched him. She saw the understanding in his eyes. Now you see, she said. Now you know. We are not monsters. We are survivors, just like you. Do-yun lowered his pistol. He did not holster it. He did not trust her that much, but he lowered it. That doesn't make it right, he said. That doesn't excuse what you've done. No, it does not. But it explains it. And perhaps, if you understand, we can find another way. What other way? You need our worlds. We need to keep them. There's no middle ground. The queen stepped toward him. He raised his pistol again, but she stopped. "There might be," she said, "if we talk, if we really talk. Not as enemies, but as two species trying to survive. Your people won't talk. You said it yourself. The swarm doesn't stop. The swarm will do what the queen's command. And I am a queen." Do-hyun looked at her. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to think that there was a way out of this war that did not end with extinction. But he was a soldier. He knew how wars ended. They ended with one side dead and the other side standing in the ashes. "I don't believe you," he said. "Then believe this," the queen said. "If you kill me now, my swarm will come anyway. They will find this planet. They will see what happened here. And they will destroy your species to the last child. But if you let me live, I can talk to them. I can try to find a different path." "Why would you do that? Why would you help us?" The queen looked at him for a long moment. "Because you helped me," she said. "Last night. You could have let me die. But you did not. You showed me mercy. I have never seen such a thing before. I did not think it was possible." She took another step forward. This time, Do-hyun did not raise his pistol. "I want to understand," she said. "I want to know why you did that. And I cannot understand if I am dead, or if your species is dead. I need to learn. I need to see more." Do-hyun looked into her mirror eyes. He saw something there that he had not seen before. Curiosity, doubt, hope. He made a decision. He lowered his pistol and put it in his holster. "Okay," he said. "We'll talk. We'll find another way. But if you're lying to me, if this is a trick, I swear I'll find a way to kill every last one of you." The queen made that sound again, the almost laugh. "Humans," she said. "Always so dramatic." Do-hyun almost smiled, almost. "So what now?" he asked. The queen looked at the wreckage around them. "Now we find a way to send a signal, but not to my swarm, to your people. We tell them that we need to talk. They won't listen, not after everything you've done. Then we will make them listen, together." Do-hyun looked at her, his enemy, his ally, his only hope. "Together," he said. They began to search through the wreckage, looking for a working radio. The hunt was over. Something new had begun. They searched through the wreckage for hours. The human transport ship had been carrying supplies for the defense of New Gangwa. Most of it was destroyed. Weapons melted, food spoiled, medical supplies scattered and useless. But they kept looking. Do-hyun found the communication room near the front of the ship. The equipment was damaged, but not destroyed. Some of the parts still worked. He began to pull pieces together, trying to build something that could send a signal. The queen watched him work. She did not understand human technology well, but she tried to help. She held parts in place with her 3 working arms while he connected wires and circuits. "You are skilled at this," she said. "Were you trained as a technician?" "No. I was trained as a medic. But in the war, you learn to do everything. Fix equipment, build shelters, treat wounds, fight, kill. Medic. That means healer?" "Yes." The queen tilted her head. "A healer who became a killer. That is strange." Do-hyun stopped working and looked at her. "My sister was a healer, a doctor. She stayed in her hospital when your ships came. She refused to leave her patients. Your soldiers burned the building with her inside." The queen was quiet. "After that," Do-hyun continued, "I didn't want to heal anymore. I wanted to fight. I wanted revenge." "And did you get it? The revenge?" Do-hyun thought about all the Keth he had killed in 3 years of war, dozens, maybe hundreds. It had not brought his sister back. It had not made the pain go away. "No," he said. "I didn't." He went back to work on the radio. The queen watched him in silence. After another hour, he had something that might work. A transmitter built from pieces of 3 different machines. It was ugly and fragile, but it had power, and it had a signal. "This will send a message to the nearest human outpost," Do-hyun said. "They'll pick up the signal and send a rescue team. But when they get here and see you, they'll try to kill you." "I know. We will have to convince them not to." "That won't be easy. You killed a lot of their friends, their families. They won't want to talk." "Then we will make them listen, as I said before." Do-hyun looked at her. "You keep saying that. Make them listen. How? You're one queen. I'm one soldier. We don't have any power." The queen stepped closer to him. Her mirror eyes reflected his face. "We have more power than you think," she said. "You are a witness. You have seen me. You have spoken to me. You know that I am more than a monster. That is valuable. That is rare. They won't believe me. They'll think you tricked me or controlled my mind. They'll think I'm a traitor. Perhaps. But you will try anyway, because you are human, because you care about your people, because you want to save them." Do-hyun could not argue with that. She was right. He would try. Even if it failed, even if they called him a traitor, he would try. Because the alternative was extinction. He activated the transmitter and sent the signal. "It's done," he said. "Now we wait." They left the ship and found a place to rest. The day was getting old and the temperature was dropping. They would need to find shelter again before nightfall. They sat on a flat rock overlooking the valley. The battlefield was visible in the distance, a sea of bodies under the gray sky. The wind was picking up, blowing dust across the dead. "What will happen to them?" Do-hyun asked. "The bodies. When your reinforcements come, what will they do with the human dead?" "They will leave them," the queen said. "The Keth do not care about enemy remains. They will rot where they fell." "And your dead? The Keth warriors?" "The swarm will collect them. Their bodies will be recycled. Their genetic material will be used to create new warriors." Do-hyun felt sick. "That's horrible." "It is efficient. Nothing is wasted." "It's still horrible." The queen looked at him. "Your species buries its dead, puts them in the ground to rot. How is that less horrible? We bury them because we respect them. We honor them. We remember them. They're not just material to be used. They were people." The queen was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Tell me about them, your squad, the ones who died." Do-hyun did not want to talk about it. The pain was too fresh, but something made him speak anyway. "Sergeant Lee Tae-hyung was our leader. He was older than the rest of us. He had a family back on Earth, a wife, 2 sons. He talked about them all the time. He said he was going to teach them to fish when the war was over." The queen listened without speaking. "Private Kim Seojin was the biggest man I ever knew, strong as a machine. But he was gentle. He was afraid of small things, insects, needles. He used to joke that he could fight the Keth, but not a spider." Do-hyun felt tears in his eyes. He blinked them away. "Corporal Cha-minji was our communications specialist. She was always listening to music. She said it kept her calm. She had a beautiful voice. Sometimes she would sing for us when things were bad." He took a breath. This was the hard one. Private First Class Park Yuna was a sniper, the best shot in the company. She was quiet. She didn't talk much, but she noticed everything. She saved my life 6 times. I counted. 6 times she saw the danger before I did. 6 times she pulled me out of the way. He stopped talking. He could not continue. The queen watched him. Those mirror eyes were unreadable. "They were important to you," she said. "They were everything to me. They were my family. And they're gone. But you remember them. You carry them with you. That is not nothing." Do-hyun looked at her. He had not expected that. He had not expected anything like understanding from her. "Do you remember your warriors?" he asked. The ones who died for you?" The queen was silent for a long moment. Then she said, "I remember their functions, their ranks, their genetic lines, but I do not remember them the way you remember your squad. I did not know them. I did not speak to them. They were tools to be used. Nothing more. That's sad. It is efficient. It's still sad." The queen made a sound, not the almost laugh. Something else, something Do-hyun did not recognize. "Perhaps," she said. "I had not considered it before. I had not thought about what they might have been, what they might have wanted. They were just the swarm to me." "Maybe that's part of the problem," Do-hyun said. "Maybe that's why this war started. Because you don't see us as people. You see us as obstacles. Things in your way. We see you as threats, as competitors, as prey. But we're not. We're people. We have families. We have dreams. We have music and love and fear. We're not that different from you." The queen turned to look at him fully. Her mirror eyes were intense. "You think we are the same?" "Not the same, but not as different as you want to believe. You love your children. You fear for your future. You want to survive. So do we. But you have something we do not. You have the ability to see others as equal, to care about them, to sacrifice for them. This is alien to us. This is what makes you dangerous." Do-hyun shook his head. "It's not what makes us dangerous. It's what makes us human. It's what makes us worth saving." The queen looked at him for a long time. Then she looked away, toward the battlefield and the dead. "Perhaps," she said again. "I am beginning to see what you mean." They sat in silence as the sun went down. The temperature dropped and the wind grew cold. They would need to find shelter soon. But for now, they sat together. Two survivors. Two enemies who were becoming something else. "I do not know if this will work," the queen said. "I do not know if my people will listen. They may kill me for suggesting peace. They may see me as weak, as corrupted." "I don't know if my people will listen either," Do-hyun said. "They may kill me for defending you. They may call me a traitor. Then we may both die. Maybe. But at least we tried. At least we didn't give up." The queen looked at him. "You are strange, human. You face death and you speak of trying. You lose everything, and you speak of hope. How do you do this?" Do-hyun thought about the question. He thought about his sister and his squad and all the people he had lost. "I don't know," he said. "Maybe it's because I have to. Maybe it's because giving up means they died for nothing. Maybe it's just what humans do." The queen made that unknown sound again. Do-hyun thought it might be something like wonder. "Then perhaps we can learn from you," she said. "Perhaps that is what this war is really about. Not worlds, not resources, but learning to see each other differently." Do-hyun looked at her. The alien queen, the enemy, the survivor. "Maybe," he said. "Let's hope so." They stood up and went to find shelter before the cold killed them. Tomorrow, the rescue team would come. Tomorrow, everything would change. The rescue team arrived on the third day. Do-hyun heard the ship before he saw it, a low roar cutting through the silence of the dead world. He stood up from the shelter and looked at the sky. A military transport was descending toward the battlefield, its engines glowing bright against the gray clouds. The queen stood beside him. She was tense. Her 3 working arms were held close to her body. She knew what was coming. "Remember what we discussed," Do-hyun said. "Let me talk first. Don't move unless I tell you to. Don't make any sudden gestures." "I understand, but they will want to kill me. I can feel their hatred from here. They don't know you. They only know what you represent. We have to change that." The ship landed 200 meters away. The cargo door opened, and soldiers poured out. They were wearing full combat armor and carrying heavy weapons. They spread out in a defensive formation and began to move toward Do Yun's position. He counted 12 soldiers, plus whoever was still on the ship, a full squad, heavily armed and ready for a fight. They were not taking any chances. The squad leader was a tall woman with captain's bars on her armor. She approached with her weapon raised, pointing at the Queen. "Staff Sergeant Kang," she said, "step away from the alien." "Captain, I need to explain." "I said step away. That's an order." Do Yun did not move. He stood between the captain and the Queen. "Sir, with respect, I need you to listen. This Queen is not a threat. She wants to talk. She wants to negotiate a peace." The captain stared at him. Her face was hard behind her helmet visor. "A peace? Are you out of your mind? Do you know how many people died on this planet? Do you know how many colonies they've destroyed?" "I know, Captain. I was there. My entire squad is dead. But killing her won't bring them back, and it won't stop the war. There are more Keth coming, hundreds of swarms, thousands of queens. We can't beat them in a straight fight. We need another way." "Another way? The only way is to kill every last one of them." The Queen spoke. Her voice was calm. "You cannot. Your species does not have the strength. You have fought well, but you are losing. In 10 years, perhaps less, humanity will be extinct." The captain turned her weapon toward the Queen. "One more word from you, and I'll scatter your pieces across this field." "Captain," Do Yun said, "please, just listen. That's all I'm asking. 5 minutes." The captain looked at him. He could see the anger in her eyes, the hatred, the pain. She had lost people too. Everyone had lost people. But she did not fire. "5 minutes," she said. "Talk." Do Yun took a breath. This was his chance. He could not waste it. "The Keth aren't invading because they want to," he said. "They're invading because they have to. Their homeworld is dying. Their sun is going cold. In 100 years, their entire species will be extinct if they don't find new worlds. So they decided to take ours. That doesn't make them sympathetic. That makes them desperate and dangerous. Yes. But it also makes them willing to negotiate. They don't want to fight forever. They want to survive. Just like us." The captain shook her head. "You've been out here too long, Sergeant. You're not thinking clearly. This alien has manipulated you. They do that. They get in your head." "She's not in my head, Captain. She saved my life. We saved each other. We spent 3 days together, talking, sharing, trying to understand. She's not a monster. She's a queen who wants to protect her people, just like you." The Queen stepped forward. The soldiers raised their weapons. "I am Velsara of the 9th Swarm," she said. "I commanded the fleet that attacked this world. I ordered the deaths of thousands of your soldiers. I do not deny this. I do not apologize for it. I did what I believed was necessary for the survival of my species." The captain's finger tightened on the trigger. "But this human has shown me something I did not expect," the Queen continued. "He has shown me that there might be another way, a way where both our species can survive. I do not know if it is possible. I do not know if my people will accept it. But I am willing to try. I am asking you to give me that chance." The captain did not speak. She did not lower her weapon. "Captain," Do Yun said, "I know this is hard. I know you want to kill her. I wanted to kill her too. But if we do that, we lose our only chance. We lose everything." "We've already lost everything," the captain said. "Look around you. This was our last stand, our best soldiers, our strongest defenses, and we failed. Humanity is finished." "Maybe. Or maybe this is where it changes. Maybe this is where we find a way forward. We won't know unless we try." The captain looked at him. She looked at the Queen. She looked at the battlefield covered in bodies. Then she lowered her weapon. "If this is a trick," she said, "if you've been compromised or manipulated, or whatever the hell happened out here, I will personally put a bullet in your head. Do you understand?" "I understand, Captain." The captain turned to her soldiers. "Stand down. We're taking them both back to command. Let the brass figure out what to do with them." The soldiers lowered their weapons. Some of them looked relieved. Others looked angry. None of them looked happy. They escorted Do-hyun and the queen to the transport ship. The soldiers kept their weapons ready, watching the queen with hostile eyes. But they did not shoot. The ship lifted off from New Gangwa. Do-hyun looked out the window at the battlefield falling away below them. All those bodies, all those friends, they were being left behind. He felt the queen standing beside him. "You did well," she said quietly. "You convinced them to listen. I convinced them to wait. That's not the same thing. It is a start. Waiting is better than shooting." Do-hyun almost smiled. He was too tired to smile. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now we go to your leaders. We tell them what I told you. We offer them a choice, peace or extinction. They might choose extinction. Humans are stubborn." "Yes, but they are also smart. They will see the logic." "Logic isn't everything. There's pride. There's anger. There's revenge. A lot of people want to keep fighting, even if it means dying." The queen looked at him. "Do you want to keep fighting?" Do-hyun thought about it. He thought about his sister and his squad. He thought about all the death he had seen, all the death he had caused. "No," he said. "I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of killing. I want it to stop. Then we will make it stop. Together." The ship flew on through the gray sky, leaving the dead world behind. The journey to Earth took 2 weeks. Do-hyun and the queen were kept in separate quarters under heavy guard. They were not allowed to talk to each other. They were not allowed to talk to anyone. But word spread. Word always spreads. By the time they reached Earth, everyone knew that a human soldier was bringing an alien queen to negotiate peace. Some people called Do-hyun a hero. Others called him a traitor. Most did not know what to think. The ship landed at the United Earth Defense Force headquarters in Geneva. Do-hyun and the queen were taken off the ship under armed escort. There were crowds outside the building. Some were cheering, some were screaming. Some were holding signs that said, "Death to the Keth," and "No peace with monsters." Do-hyun looked at the queen. She was walking tall, her mirror eyes looking straight ahead. She was not afraid. Or if she was, she did not show it. They were taken inside and brought to a large hall. The United Earth Council was assembled there. The leaders of humanity's government and military. The people who would decide the fate of both species. Do-hyun and the queen stood before them. Hundreds of faces looked down at them from the seats above. Some curious, some hostile, some afraid. The council president spoke. She was an old woman with white hair and hard eyes. "Staff Sergeant Kang Do-hyun, you have brought an enemy queen to our capital. You claim she wants peace. The council will hear your testimony and hers. Then we will decide." Do-hyun stepped forward. "Madam President, council members, I know what you think. You think I've been tricked. You think this is a trap. But I'm asking you to listen. Really listen. Because if you don't, we're all going to die." He began to talk. He told them everything: the battle, the storm, the night of cold, the conversations, the truth about the dying Keth homeworld. He told them about what he had learned and what he had felt. He told them about mercy and understanding and hope. The council listened. They did not interrupt. They did not ask questions. When Do-hyun finished, the queen spoke. She told her own story, the history of the Keth, the dying sun, the desperate search for new worlds, the wars they had fought and the races they had conquered. She did not apologize. She did not beg. She simply told the truth. Then she made her offer. The Keth need worlds. You have worlds. We can take them by force, and both our species will be destroyed. Or we can share them. and both our species will live. The choice is yours." The council president looked at her for a long moment. "Why should we trust you? You've killed billions of us. You've destroyed our colonies. You've shown no mercy. You should not trust me. Trust must be earned. But you should consider the alternative. If you reject this offer, the swarms will come. All of them. And they will not stop until humanity is ash." The president looked at the council. They looked back at her. The tension in the room was thick enough to touch. Do-Yun spoke again. "Madam President, I know this is hard. I know it feels like surrender. But it's not. It's survival. It's hope. It's a chance to build something better than war." The president looked at him. Her eyes were unreadable. "And how do we know you haven't been compromised, Sergeant? How do we know this isn't exactly what the Keth want?" Do-Yun met her gaze. "You don't," he said. "But I'm asking you to take the risk, because the alternative is extinction, and I don't think any of us want that." The president was silent. The council was silent. The whole world was waiting for her answer. Then she spoke. "The council will deliberate. We will give you our decision in 24 hours. Until then, you will both remain in custody." The guards came forward to take them away. As they left the hall, the queen looked at Do-Yun. "You did well," she said. "I did what I could. The rest is up to them." "Yes, the rest is up to them." They were taken to their cells to wait. Tomorrow, they would know if humanity chose hope or death. Tomorrow, everything would change. Do-Hyun did not sleep that night. He lay on his bed in the small cell and stared at the ceiling. Outside his window, the city lights of Geneva glowed against the dark sky. Somewhere out there, the council was deciding the future of humanity. He thought about his sister. He thought about what she would say if she could see him now. Would she be proud? Would she understand? Or would she think he had betrayed everything they had fought for? He did not know. He would never know. She was gone, and he had to make these choices alone. A guard came to his cell in the morning. The guard's face was blank, giving nothing away. "The council has made its decision," the guard said. "Come with me." Do-Hyun stood up. His heart was beating hard. This was the moment. One way or another, this was the end. He followed the guard through the headquarters. Soldiers and officials passed them in the hallways, but no one looked at him. No one spoke. The silence was heavy. They reached the council hall. The doors opened, and Do-Yun walked in. The queen was already there. She stood in the center of the hall, surrounded by guards. Her mirror eyes found Do-Hyun as he entered. She did not speak, but he felt her presence, her strength. The council was assembled in the seats above. The president sat at the center, her white hair bright under the lights. Her face was still unreadable. Do-Hyun walked to the center of the hall and stood beside the queen. Two survivors, two witnesses, two hopes for the future. The president stood up. "Staff Sergeant Kang Do-Hyun, Velsara of the 9th Swarm. The council has deliberated through the night. We have considered your testimony. We have weighed the risks and the possibilities. We have argued and debated and questioned everything." She paused. The silence was absolute. "This is the most difficult decision this council has ever faced. We are being asked to trust an enemy that has killed billions of our people. We are being asked to share our worlds with those who tried to take them by force. We are being asked to believe that peace is possible with a species that has known only war." Do-Hyun felt his stomach tighten. This did not sound good. "But we have also considered the alternative," the president continued. "Continued war, continued death, the eventual extinction of humanity. We are a proud species. We do not surrender easily, but we are also a wise species. We know when the time has come to change." She looked directly at Do-Hyun and the queen. "The council has voted. By a narrow margin, we have chosen to accept your offer. We will begin negotiations for a peace agreement between humanity and the Keth. Do-Yun felt his legs go weak. He had to stop himself from falling. This does not mean we trust you, the president said, looking at the Queen. This does not mean we forgive you. It means we are willing to try. It means we believe that survival is more important than revenge. If you betray us, if this is a trick, we will fight to the last human. But if you are sincere, we will work with you to build something new. The Queen stepped forward. The guards tensed, but she stopped. I am sincere, she said. I cannot promise that my people will accept this decision. I cannot promise that peace will be easy, but I promise that I will try. I will use all my power and influence to make this work. The Keth are tired of war too. We want to live. We want our children to have a future. If humanity will give us that chance, we will not waste it. The president nodded slowly. Then we will begin. It will be a long process. There will be difficulties. There will be setbacks. There will be those on both sides who try to destroy what we build. But if we are determined, if we are brave, we can create something that has never existed before. A partnership between species, a shared future. She looked at Do-Yun. Staff Sergeant Kong, you brought this Queen to us. You stood up for her when everyone wanted to kill her. You asked us to trust when trust seemed impossible. Some call you a traitor. Others call you a hero. The truth is probably somewhere in between. But without you, this moment would not exist. Humanity owes you a debt. Do-Hyun did not know what to say. He had not done this for recognition. He had not done this to be a hero. He had done it because it was the right thing to do. I'm just a soldier, Madam President, he said. I did what I thought was right. And that is exactly what a hero does. The council rose and began to file out of the hall. The negotiations would begin soon. The hard work was just starting. But for now, there was hope. For the first time in 3 years, there was hope. Do-Yun and the Queen stood alone in the center of the hall. The guards had moved back, giving them space. You did it, the Queen said. You convinced them. We did it, together. The Queen looked at him. Her mirror eyes reflected his face. What will happen to you now? Will you return to the military? Do-Hyun thought about it. He thought about putting on his armor again, picking up his weapon, going back to the battlefield. No, he said. I'm done fighting. I want to help build this peace. I want to make sure it works. That will be dangerous. There are many who want us to fail, on both sides. I know, but it's worth the risk. It's the most important thing I'll ever do. The Queen nodded. I must return to my people, she said. I must tell them what has happened here. I must convince them to accept this peace. It will not be easy. Many will resist. Some may try to kill me. Will you be safe? I do not know, but I must try. As you said, it is the most important thing I will ever do. They stood there looking at each other, two survivors who had found something unexpected in the ruins of war. Not friendship exactly, but understanding, respect, hope. When we were on the battlefield, Do-Hyun said, I asked myself which one of us would endure, which one of us would survive. I thought only one of us could make it. And now? Now I know I was wrong. We endured together. That's the only reason we're here. That's the only reason any of this is possible. The Queen made that sound again. The one Do-Hyun thought might be wonder. Humans, she said. You find meaning in everything, even in suffering, even in loss. I did not understand before. I am beginning to understand now. That's what makes us human. We find reasons to keep going. We find hope, even when there's no reason to hope. Perhaps that is what my people need to learn. Perhaps that is the real gift you can give us. Do-Hyun almost smiled. Maybe. I guess we'll find out. The queen extended one of her arms. It was not a human gesture, but Do-hyun understood it. He reached out and touched her clawed hand with his. "Good luck," he said, "with your people. Good luck with yours." She turned and walked out of the hall. The guards followed her. She would be taken to a ship and sent back to her swarm. She would face her own battles. She would fight for peace in a way Do-hyun could not imagine. He watched her go. Then he turned and walked the other way. Outside the headquarters, the crowds were still gathered. Some were angry, some were hopeful, some were just confused. They did not know what to think about a world where humans and Keth were not enemies. Do-hyun pushed through them and found a quiet place at the edge of the square. He looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, among the stars, the Keth swarms were waiting. The future was uncertain. The peace might fail. The war might start again. But for now, there was hope. He thought about his squad, about Sergeant Lee and Private Kim and Corporal Cha and Private Park. They had died on New Gangwa. They would never see this day. They would never know that their sacrifice had led to something more than death. But Do-hyun knew. And he would carry their memory with him. He would honor them by building the peace they had died for. He would make sure they had not died for nothing. He took a deep breath of the earth air. It smelled like home, like hope. Like a future he had not believed in until now. Then he walked back toward the headquarters. There was work to do. The war was over. The real fight was just beginning. And for the first time in a long time, Do-hyun was ready for it. He had asked which one of them would endure. The answer was clear now. They both had. Not by defeating each other, but by finding a way forward together. That was humanity's greatest strength. Not weapons, not technology, not even courage. Connection, understanding, the willingness to see the other as more than an enemy. That was what it meant to be human. And that was what would save them all.